and welcome to another session of Lockdown Learning with me, Paul Holland. This is a short explanation of the imperfect tense for you in French. If you're doing it for GCSE or beyond, you'll find this a really useful tense to have. It's just another kind of past tense which goes alongside the perfect tense. Now, you all know the perfect tense really well. That's the one with three parts in it. Here we are. Look, I have eaten, j'ai mangé. We have gone, nous sommes allés. And that is certainly the tense that you'll use the most when you're describing what you did in the past and what things happened to you. But what about this imperfect tense? Well, for one thing, it doesn't have the three sections that you had in the perfect tense. And in English, we often translate it with the was doing form. Okay, for example, I was reading. I was sitting in the park when I met my friends. And here on this diagram, you can see, hopefully nice and clearly, that it's certainly in the past. It's definitely finished. You're not still sitting there in the park. But when you met your friends, that is a perfect tense. That happened within seconds. That was a particular moment when it happened, and that you would definitely use the perfect tense for. But the section here in red, that was taking some time. That was over a period of time. It could be 20 minutes, it could be 2 hours. It makes no difference, but that action was interrupted, if you like, by a perfect tense that happened at a particular moment. We were watching TV when our pizzas arrived. The pizza's arriving, that's the perfect tense, but we were watching TV maybe for 2 hours, maybe for 20 minutes. That would be the imperfect tense. And of course, that length of time is completely flexible. It could be millions of years. It could be the dinosaurs were living on Earth for millions of years when the meteor struck. The imperfect tense is also used to describe actions and events that took place regularly in the past. So a habit or a routine that has now finished. I don't play the clarinet anymore, but I used to play the clarinet. And there's how we translate it in English. I used to do something, and that would be the imperfect tense in French. So let's have a look now at how the French language forms the imperfect tense. It's relatively easy, but we'll start with a couple of really common ones, one of which is the only irregular one. That's être. And we'll start with être here because it's used for description. I was tired. We were happy. We were not happy. And here's avoir. I used to have a goldfish. In the past, over a period of time. Or a description with avoir using your age, for example. When I was 12. Quand j'avais 12 ans. Because remember, with age, you have 12 years. And so in the imperfect tense, when I was 12. Quand j'avais, when I had 12 years of age. And now let's have a look at all the other verbs in French. They are all regular in forming the imperfect tense. The only one that wasn't regular was être. That just goes to E acute T, and then you put those endings on. In French, all the other verbs that you'll ever need for imperfect tenses are very easily formed. You take the nous form of the present tense, and we'll explain why that happens later. You take off the ONS, and then you put these endings on. And it's as simple as that. So here we are. Play, nous jouons, we play, nous jouons. Take off the ONS and put these 6 endings on. Je jouais, tu jouais, il jouait, nous jouions, vous jouiez, and il jouait. And it works for all of them. J'écoutais, tu écoutais, il écoutait, nous écoutions, vous écoutiez, ils écoutaient. You will notice very typically for French that 4 of these sound exactly the same. Now, in writing them, you need to get the endings right. They are with an SST pattern and a silent ENT, as we often find in French, for the ils form, the ils or elles form. But they sound exactly the same. Je jouais. Il jouait. And that makes it a little bit confusing when you're listening. So you have to be careful that you haven't heard somebody say j'ai joué, which would be the perfect tense. They were saying je jouais, I was playing. And that's it. It's as straightforward as that. Here's some examples. J'écrivais une lettre. Nous écoutions de la musique. Il jouait au foot dans le parc. If you're interested, it is quite important to get that nous form as your base because some verbs happen to have soft G's and they need to be kept soft. So if you take the nous form, you keep that E, which makes that G soft. For example, nous mangeons is the form that you need to make that a soft J sound in the middle. So je mangeais, tu mangeais, il mangeait. Otherwise it would sound je mangeais, tu mangeais. And other verbs have slightly odd forms that you need. So je buvais from boire. And of course, that's why you need the nous form there, because you need the buv from nous buvons. And then you can go je buvais, tu buvais, il buvait. And you've got the buv stem. Good, that's that. I hope that's of use to you. If it is, that's great. Please do like and subscribe. If there's any other things that you find useful in my playlists, take a look at them in Lockdown Learning. In the meantime, look forward to having you watch something else that I've done, and see you soon. Goodbye.